The Frozen North, Episode 60, our top 5 voice-acted characters.
Hello and welcome to episode number 60 of the Frozen North Gaming Podcast. My name is JJ and I'm here alongside my two friends, Mark.
Howdy, y'all.
Is that it? Is that all I got?
Yes. Howdy, y'all.
And Brian.
What is up?
That was it. That was all you guys
dude.
had.
That's all I have for
Hey,
you.
what is up is actually a pretty great. It's a pretty great.
Man, we are all about the descriptive words today and
Yeah. What is up, guys?
keeping things interesting.
Howdy, y'all is
Man.
very descriptive.
I almost said.
I'm so glad with how nice everything is today.
Well, yeah. I would. I almost said, "How are all the readers out there in Reader World?" But that doesn't make sense.
Is there a reader world?
I don't know.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, I still read Chief. I started reading
Hey.
Ready Player One. I
Nice.
think it's actually really good. I'm enjoying it quite a
Now,
bit.
is it fiction or nonfiction?
It's fiction.
It's super
100%.
fiction?
It takes place in the future.
Like triple fix?
Yeah, if you're a big fan of like 80s pop culture
Yeah.
and 80s video gaming and stuff like that, that's a really big part of it. And obviously, you know I am, so I love it. I think it's really good so far.
A small tangent. Do you guys want to see that movie with like Adam Sandler and Kevin Smith with like Pac-Man? Have you guys seen that trailer?
Yes,
I have to see that. When the creator of
video
the
games.
creator of Pac-Man actually
Yep.
like goes up and tries to talk to him and then eats him.
cracks me up.
What?
You haven't seen the
Yeah. You haven't
trailer
seen
to
the
that?
trailer for that?
No.
Oh,
my
it's an
gosh.
80s video game kid dream.
Nice.
But yeah, like all the Space Invaders is coming down. People have to shoot them like in the sky.
No, you know what? That is starting to sound familiar.
Yeah, it's got Adam Sandler.
I feel like I heard about this a long time ago, and it hasn't come up again until
I think
now.
it's called Pixel.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep.
I believe so. I believe you're right. Yeah, the trailer just came out a few months ago.
Right.
So, but it it looks ridiculously funny.
Oh yeah.
So, we're here to talk about video games today.
Video games.
That's what we are. We are the Frozen North Gaming Podcast. If it's your first time listening to us, thank you very much for tuning in. We welcome you, and hopefully you can hang out and have fun with us.
Yeah. I know I will.
That's good. I'm glad. So, what you guys been playing this week?
I've been playing quite a bit of Deus Ex Human Revolution. Getting back into it since the trailer just came out for Mankind Divided. And we just played, you and me actually just played quite a bit of Portal 2 co-op.
We did. Yeah.
Really good game. I actually think the puzzles in the co-op are more interesting than the ones in the single player.
A lot of people said that.
Yep. Yeah, because you've got stuff you have to rely on your teammate for, and they really just designed it ingeniously.
And having up to 4 portals open can really shift how it plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Brian?
Oh gosh. Okay. So ever since I stopped rating in WoW, I've been tearing up the games. Recently beat Final Fantasy 13-2, Lego Harry Potter Years 1 through 4.
How are those?
The Lego games are some of my favorite. How do I describe them? They're not particularly they're like a playground.
I believe we described them as guilty pleasures.
They are.
Previously.
They're not hard. They're kind of like if you like the content of what you're playing. Like so, there's an Indiana Jones that I want to get my hands on. It's kind of like you running through that world and the Lego twist with all the humor that Lego brings. It's really good. A lot of I've heard Lego. I haven't played Lego Marvel, but I've heard that game is phenomenal. Kyle, my brother, swears by it. Says it's absolutely amazing to play. So, kind of getting through all the Lego games. Started Xenoblade Chronicles X on the 3DS because I just beat Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. Fantastic.
You mean just Xenoblade Chronicles?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
I was
Sorry.
like, what?
I haven't jumped into the future yet. And then I've started Assassin's Creed Liberation and then Bloodborne, which I have fallen in love with. And I'll probably be requesting some airtime to talk about Bloodborne in the future because it's already in my top 5 and I'm probably not even halfway through the game yet. Top 5 all-time games. Yeah.
Yeah, we were watching you play a little bit of it earlier today. Looks
Yep.
pretty pretty stellar.
Yep. So that's what I've been playing.
Cool. I have been playing a little bit of Final Fantasy Type 0. It's okay. It's not amazing, but it's decent. It's what's funny, this is going to sound so stupid and make me sound like such a huge hypocrite, but like when they started talking about the l'Cie and everything like that in the game, you know how much I'm like, not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy 13, but I was still like, anytime I heard a term that I recognized or something like that, I was like, I know what they're talking about. Yes. But it's like, it totally means,
right.
It means the same thing in this, but not the same thing because it's a different time period.
Isn't the game that you're playing take place like years in the past?
In the past, yeah. It's a very different world.
Right.
But I like the gameplay, and I like the little RTS mini game that they have in there too. It's pretty good. And other than that, I really haven't been playing much. I've been watching a lot of TV shows. Actually, been watching Daredevil.
I watched the first episode last night.
Man,
so good.
So good.
Yeah, it is amazing.
And other than that, yeah, that's about it for me.
Right on. Well, indeed.
There is an email that we got that I wanted to bring up real quick because I thought it would kind of make an interesting discussion piece. Let me pull it up here from Alex. He actually emailed me a few things, and then we kind of went back and forth a little bit. But the last email that he sent me had something in there that I thought was pretty interesting. He says, I also started thinking about Final Fantasy games as a whole and trying to determine when obviously this is farther down in his email. I also started thinking about Final Fantasy games as a whole and trying to determine when the characters and stories stopped holding as much weight with me. I played 1, 4, and 6 when I was younger, and I can recall loads of details about them. But when I look at stuff like 8 or 9 or even 12, I can barely remember much beyond maybe a few names or places. I wonder if it's just that those older games hold some sort of nostalgia, or perhaps there was just a certain newness to them at the time. He says, I really can't pinpoint it. I've just gone back and played 3 and 5. 5 was more my speed. It had somewhat of a tactics-like feel with the jobs, but that and the pianos are all that I remember. I thought this was interesting, simply because I've noticed this myself. I mean, you hear me talk about the old games like 6, 4, the old Lufia games, all those Super Nintendo RPGs that I grew up with. I can remember them front to back, up, down, left, right, sideways. I've also gone back, and now that I have a job and I have money, I can get some of those older RPGs that I didn't get a chance to play back then. But I've noticed that even though those games, and I tell myself all the time, like, this is what I want to play, this is what hits me the hardest, I will still play some of those games that I would have loved back then, and I'll play them now for the first time.
Right.
And I'll like them, but it definitely won't hit me.
It doesn't hit you the way it did.
No, it does not, and I've noticed that. And I as much as it sucks to say, I don't think it comes from, I think it all is literally all nostalgia, and that makes me think man, I don't want to start thinking less of Final Fantasy VI just because of
It's not lesser, but it's a very human attribute. So let's give you a quick example. Your first love, you'll always remember her, but you won't remember all the details or him, yes. But then all the ones that are consecutive after that, because you've already experienced that before. These games when you played, they were brand new. It's kind of like a military veteran where a rookie or a greenhorn, whatever they say. I'm not in the military, but first get into the war, you're always going to remember your first battle. But then as you become hardened, it becomes more routine. So the games you may play now, when you played for years now, video games, you were still fresh. Video games were new when we were younger.
Exactly.
That market was still exploding. Now video games is literally and figuratively mainstream to the T. Right?
But it's not like that with everybody, though.
What do you mean?
Well, for you. I mean, you just said so yourself. Your Bloodborne is going to hit your top 5. That's brand new.
Right.
There's no way that a brand new game would come anywhere near my top 5 simply because of nostalgia.
I get that.
You know what I mean?
Right, but Bloodborne actually is going to hit my top 5 because it has a lot of old school concepts to it. Because it reminds me of the games that I used to play. I explained in the car to Matt and Brandon when we were driving over here that Bloodborne reminds me of when I first got, and this is not too long ago, but when I first got Ninja Gaiden for the Xbox when I was in college.
Yeah.
That game was a ridiculously hard game, and me and my roommate got it at the same time, and we compared notes, And that's kind of the old school feeling that I got from it. Like, oh man, this is back to going, oh, how'd you beat that boss? What did you do? I don't know. It didn't tell me. I don't know what to do. Did you learn this trick? I don't know. That's kind of like the intrigue.
I mean, to put what Brandon's saying in a different way, imagine, for me, I'm imagining back to when I first played Zelda. And not only is Zelda a fantastic game, but it was also probably like the 5th game I ever played.
Right.
Now, if I play a game, it's like the 7th. Just to go.
He knew exactly where we were going with that. Hey,
Touche.
can I get one of these? That was
Well played.
That was
sir.
well played.
But yeah, so you get the point.
Our experiences are so. If you play a game now, JJ, that's going to be your. You're well over 1,000 games played in your lifetime. I'm pretty sure
Easily.
So it's your 1,050th. So you've been there, you've done that. There's games really can't show you new tricks. All these games you're talking about that have the nostalgia factor showed you something new. And that's what you remember. But it's really hard for games especially when you have that breadth of expertise. That's where a lot of, I think, this generation's jadedness comes from, because we have played so many games. So games that come out that are uninspired, we're like, ugh, like give me something that we can have that feeling again. But it's hard to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like the email.
I did. That was good. That's like it's a good something to think about. Like,
Definitely
why do
something
I
to ponder for sure.
Why do I revere those games over than when I play them now? They're like, well,
They just kind of they created the lens through which you look at games in general.
Yeah.
I think those classic.
Definitely. Yep, very much. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it, man. And if you would like to email us at any point, please do so. Our email address is frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. I try to respond to everybody, and so far I think I've been doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'd love to hear from you, and just love talking to people. So tell us your top 5 games. Tell us why you disagree with what we say.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Our website is at fngaming.net. We have a Facebook at facebook.com/frozennorth. Our Twitter is at fnpodcast. Our blog is frozennorthpodcast.blogspot.com. And we are on iTunes, where you can subscribe to and rate us. Please do so. All right. We are how close to 200 Twitter followers, Mark?
We are at 194 at the moment.
194?
Yep.
6 more, and we will do a contest. So we get 6 more followers. That's it. Even if you need to just make a Twitter account.
Just make some new fake Twitter accounts and follow us, and then you might get free stuff.
Gamer Guy 1,
somehow.
Gamer Guy 2, Gamer Guy 3,
Gamer Guy
4.
7.
Ooh.
Whoa.
That's it. Well, let's not get carried away.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Brian, come on. Jeez.
I'm
Ridiculous.
sorry. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Brian, what do we got for news?
Let's go over news. Actually, a big couple of weeks recently. Announcements and craziness.
Brian's giving me like a look like he's got a news story just for me.
I might have one. The first bit, I think you guys might have heard about it. Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes.
Although the way you spelled it, I'm not really sure.
Star Wars Battlefront. Well, the reveal trailer came out and a little bit of details. First of all, the reveal trailer. Holy beep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I censored myself.
Just like that.
That was amazing. I mean, it's running in the what's the DICE engine called? Whatever, Battlefield 4 engine, whatever.
Sure.
That works.
So it looks beautiful.
They know what you're talking about.
Apparently, it will be first available on the Halo Box One. Oh, by the way, I am now referring to Xbox One forevermore as Halo Box One. So that's what I mean. And that's through EA's
Can I say something to address that real quick?
Please.
I absolutely adore the Battlefront series and I love them, like, since they first started coming out. Both of the other two I played on Xbox.
That's kind of cool.
That's like, because at the time I was living with 3 other guys,
right?
And we all had our TVs and Xboxes hooked up in the basement. I think it's a great console for it. With Microsoft's online capabilities, it works wonderfully, and that is something you will not hear me complain about with that. And and this time I probably will end up going PS4.
Why not?
Just because of it, but just because I have one already.
PC Master Race for me.
But at the same time, it's it'll run beautifully on Xbox One.
You bet. Also, this game will take place during the original trilogy, the Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader days. And it's set to release on the Halo Box One, the PS4, and the PC on November 17th.
So how far in advance is...
They didn't give any details about how far in advance, but it will. They said first. Yeah, there's an AEA app for the Xbox
Oh, that's the one that
Yeah.
PlayStation, that Sony was like, we don't want it.
We don't want that.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
and they'll have first access to it. I don't think it's a whole lot sooner, but still, I mean, people who are clamoring for it.
Makes sense that they would do that, though.
Right. Moving on, I purchased the Metro Redux over this past week.
Nice.
Including Metro 2033 Redux and Metro Last Light. And this added to its 1.5 million copies. The collection contains I told you about that, the 2 games. Deep Silver, the publisher, is very happy with the success of the remaster. They said, when measured against sales of the previous generation release, Metro Redux is the best performing remaster of this generation. Pretty cool. I'm really excited to play these games. Now, I heard a lot of issues with the original Metro 2033 having some wonky control scheme. Mm-hmm. But they addressed that in the Redux version, so I can't wait to play them. Honestly, I've heard the atmosphere is fantastic. Another sales landmark, I guess we should say. Cities Skylines
Yeah.
has passed the 1 million mark.
Yes.
Damn it, Mark.
Hey, man.
Hey, it's I give you crap for it because I think city planning games are ridiculously boring. But you showed me your city,
He would play it in a heartbeat if it wasn't boring.
right?
Right.
That's, I mean, at least consider that.
Yeah.
So if he thought it would be a fun game,
Yeah.
he would play it.
Absolutely.
So there's that.
Because games aren't
take that
supposed to
into
be
account,
fun; they're supposed to
at
be.
least.
But no, I admit you showed me your city and it looks very polished and very well done. So
It's got that awesome tilt shift filter to it.
whatever that is.
That's what I look for. That,
Yeah, that
tilt shift.
Someone out there
filter.
knows what I'm referring to, and they appreciate it.
All right. Star Ocean 5 is not mobile. It's coming to the PS4 and PS3.
I really feel like we dodged a bullet.
Tri-Ace just went full 4D space with their announcement of development of the Star Ocean
Saw that
sequel.
comment. Touche.
No release date was announced, but this game is indeed being developed by Tri-Ace and published by Squeenix.
Do you have the subtitle for the game written down there?
The subtitle?
Yeah, like the...
Yeah, it actually has a full name.
I didn't get that.
It's
No.
kind of a wonky full name.
And this will feature real-time battles. That's one of the big announcements that I know the other game had like semi-real-time battles where you run into an enemy and then you'd have like a little battle arena. But this one's apparently going to have just straight-up real-time battles.
Interesting.
Pretty cool.
It is Star Ocean 5 Integrity and Faithlessness. So
Nice. Star Ocean.
Integrity and Faithlessness. What was the name for the Bravely Default sequel?
it was, what was it?
We make fun of it all the time. So we should say Star Ocean 5, foam and wall scraping.
Bravely Second and Lair.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what. I'm sure it sounds a lot cooler in Japanese,
Yeah.
but
It's probably like,
yeah,
what the sakamateo?
yeah, that sounded really
You've
cool.
now upset
You got-
with our listeners,
Right.
as usual.
Yeah, and
What,
there
how do I upset
goes
people?
our listener base.
Do we have Japanese listeners?
No, but we have people
Not
that have
anymore.
probably studied some Japanese and know how to actually pronounce things.
Watanabe Saga
That's
Hocho.
true.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that we have some people that listen that actually take Japanese classes.
Touche.
Next,
All right, next. Final Fantasy 13 now on smartphones through the power of cloud computing. Mark.
Woo! I called it.
Mark's future is slowly coming to fruition, and it is fantastic. I'm going to explain a little bit of how it works. You don't actually run the game off of your hardware on your phone, because I know people are like, that's a pretty powerful game. What you're doing is you're actually running the game on some very powerful rig in the cloud, which is just, in a building in Utah somewhere, in a server cluster. And you are actually getting that stream to you. Now, the biggest obstacle is we need to go ahead and put the internet providers in a headlock to get the speeds up enough to support this cloud streaming future, because you do need a lot of speed for it, especially a game with that resolution and that kind of power. But I think it's kind of cool that Mark kind of said this was coming. Yeah.
Yay!
Yay!
Hooray.
Hey, all right, you're a good boy.
good boy.
Yeah, good boy. And then another big deal trailer, the Dissidia trailer. Now, this is a game being developed in Japan on PlayStation 4 hardware for arcades. But they showed a very precarious trailer for the arcade, which looked beyond good. And then the PS4, which was obviously a little bit of a downgrade, but still looked absolutely amazing. Seeing some of the old school Final Fantasy characters in glorious HD 1080p 60 frames per second
was amazing.
Yeah. There wasn't really an announcement that it's coming to the PS4, but they hinted at it like 3 times in the article. And it's also the fact that it's being developed on PlayStation 4 hardware should give you an idea that be looking for a little Dissidia on the PS4. It'll be the sequel to Dissidia Duodecum 012 or whatever. I don't know. Japanese naming is weird. But that's your news, guys. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Woo! Heck yeah.
A lot of Jerpica stuff.
All right. Yeah. Well, this episode's going to be devoted to voice acting stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do a Beyond the Game segment on voice acting itself in video games. We're going to talk a little bit about how important voice acting is to us and where we think different genres lie in relation to what we think best voice acting fits within those genres. And we'll get to what we mean with that a little later on. But I mean, right off the bat, so for me, I guess I'll probably start because quite frankly, it's really not that important to me. As long as I can understand what you're saying, and even if I think your voice acting is great and everything, I will still put subtitles on with the English just so I can know for sure. Especially I play JRPGs. How many times in there do you hear like random phrases that they made up and just shoehorned in there? And you're like, what
is that?
Heck is a second phonon or something? Tales of the Abyss. Yeah. But like, that's why I put that stuff on there. That way I can look at it and be like, okay, that's what they're saying. Yeah. Now I just got to remember that for later on. But it's really not that big of a deal to me. Some people literally, I kind of just cringe whenever I hear somebody say, oh, I couldn't get through that game because the voice acting was so bad. And it's like, turn the sound off or turn it to Japanese voices or just put subtitles on.
Right.
Well, come on. Seriously? Is it really that big of a deal that's going to make you not play through a game?
I think that when games didn't offer alternative voice tracks, it was a much bigger deal. Now that basically any game that's ported over does let you listen to the original Japanese, that helps quite a bit. So
people still complain about it. It's
that's
the internet.
If you're going to complain about that when you have options, that's stupid.
Right. Exactly. For sure.
I think for me, voice acting is, I wouldn't say the most important, but I still remember when Final Fantasy X was announced and it was fully voice acted.
That was cool.
It was absolutely, I was like, thank God I don't have to read anymore. Like, I turn subtitles off on all my games. I like them as cinematic as possible. I sometimes can't hear stuff. Obviously, sometimes the mix is bad where they have like, and then somebody's like, come on. You're like, what? I don't know what you just said. There was like 1,000 things going on and you didn't mix it well enough to, but I digress. Voice acting for me is part of the immersion I get out of voice acting, and text bubbles, while don't get me wrong, love all the Final Fantasies that have them, I don't get as immersed because I'm reading rather than hearing somebody say it. So a badly voice acted game can kind of take me out of that, but like you said, at that point, if it's that bad, I would just turn on subtitles. And
it's rare nowadays anyways to see a game that doesn't have voice acting. So I mean, there's still plenty of games that do it, and it's usually going to be like an artistic choice as to why they're going to do it. Mm-hmm. Nobody is like, well, we just don't want voice acting.
You know what I've seen a lot?
Sure some people
I've seen a lot lately with the indie crowd, and then I know Zelda still does this, but it's kind of voice acted, but like with grunts and why?
Yeah.
Hey, listen. Like, yeah.
What was that last one?
Well, I watched
half of Mario.
I watched a little bit of a Let's Play of the Forest of Ori, I think it is, or and
Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ori and the Blind Forest. I'm sorry. Yep. Looked great, but it kind of the same kind of voice acting where it's like.
When you asked this question, when I read the notes, I felt like I was going to come here and say voice acting's not that important to me. It doesn't really impact how I play games. But as I thought about it, I realized that's not true at all. For instance, with Skyrim, I'm huge into modding. Not making mods, but like downloading mods, making the game more interesting. And I have picked up on the fact that I've uninstalled mods just because the voice acting didn't mesh very well with the main game.
Right.
So it's like these accents aren't right, or this voice acting is just poorly recorded. I'm getting rid of this.
Yeah.
And I also know that I've become very lazy as a gamer when it comes to reading blocks of text. now that I've gotten used to having voice acting for everything.
Yeah.
It is tough to make that switch, especially if you're a newer gamer, and like that's one of the biggest obstacles that I run across when I recommend older games to people, and they're like, well, because one of the biggest questions that I get, people knowing that I'm a Final Fantasy fan, is, well, I started with 10, or I started with 13, or heck, I even started with 7 or 8 or 9. Which one of the old ones do you recommend? And I will, I'll be like, obviously 6 or 4 or something like that. But at the same time, I just have to, kind of put that disclaimer in there, like, you're going to be reading a lot. It's not it's not what you're used to.
Let me paint a small picture. This might explain to me why I think voice acting is important. So think of a game where somebody dies, and then there's this big dramatic, like, I think of this because I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3D on my 3DS, and a character died, and I honestly think the game so far is phenomenally voice acted. I know that you had an issue with a couple of the characters.
I think, Ryan. I don't like
right.
I think his voice acting is overdone,
and that's fair. But I think that the scene where this character dies and you get that that almost emotional like scream of no, and you get that like sense of that gets this the hair standing on the back. It doesn't.
I remember that scream.
Yeah, where he's like
absolutely.
And it kind of puts the hair on the back, and you can't get that with the text saying all caps no.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's scenes that voice acting can enhance no matter what over text. But if the voice acting is here's the scale. If the voice acting is great, it beats text anytime, right? Because it can literally incite an emotion. If voice acting is bad and it's not done very well, it can actually be worse than text.
But I think that all just comes down to, like you said, immersion, making it as real as possible.
Sure.
When you've got voice acting where they're just reading from a page and not putting any actual acting into the voice,
right. Yeah,
it's obviously not going to be
What's the
immersive
point?
at all, because
Right.
people don't act like that. They don't say anything. Much like text, people don't walk around with speech bubbles next to their head.
correct.
I mean, people talk. They have words that come out of their mouth and say things. So, of course, it's going to enhance immersion. Absolutely.
Right.
It's just, it sucks when it's a turnoff to some people just because of that.
Right.
That's what kind of gets to me.
I get you.
So,
I think I came up with some examples that I think really drive this point home. What kind of game would Dear Esther be if the voice acting wasn't good?
Or Portal.
It's a game where you just walk through an environment and listen to a guy narrate his life. If he had a horrible voice, it wouldn't be a good game.
Right. Portal 2,
And,
or if they just had walls
Stanley
of text.
Parable.
Stanley Parable, exactly. That was my other example.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't an amazing, humorous British guy talking about stuff, would it be a fun game?
There was one other thing that I wanted to kind of bring up with this. We actually talked a little bit about this the other day. So, like, different genres of gaming with different voices in them. Like, so we talked about, one of the things we talked about was The Walking Dead. Mark, you had mentioned that you thought, what's her name? Clementine was a great character and blah 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 whatever. And I thought she was terrible. I thought she was over the top, ridiculous, and just her voice didn't seem to fit. It sounded like an older person doing a little girl's voice, which generally is how it works. That's usually what they do. But again, that's where the acting comes in. You're supposed to be making it sound like this little girl, and it was just it did not fit. And when we actually started talking about it, I realized like that voice would be perfect for I looked at the voice acting lady's history, and she did a lot of JRPGs and stuff, and I was like, that would actually make perfect sense because those tend to be over the top and a little
she
ridiculous.
acted like that in The Walking Dead,
right?
So it didn't mesh,
which is why it was kind of like what?
Because I agreed with you. I thought that she kind of stood out as like,
well, yeah, and everybody else was fine. Everybody else was very, and I think that it's just very interesting to see like you've got these Western games that are very very serious, and you kind of need that raw, rough tone.
There's definitely tonal differences.
For sure. And then you play a JRPG and it's very lighthearted and the voice acting reflects that 150%. So and vice versa. I guarantee you if I heard like the guy in Walking Dead.
Oh,
Lee
Everett.
If I heard Lee Everett's voice coming out of somebody in a JRPG,
It would be weird.
I probably would think it was a little weird.
I thought when we were I couldn't say this to you over text, but I thought about this. This is the perfect difference between Western and JRPG tonal differences. It could be give it the same scene, right? There's a giant meteor about to crash onto the planet. In a JRPG, the main characters would be like, "Oh my gosh, everyone's gonna die. Good thing we had soup," right? There's that like, you know what I mean? Like there's that almost. This is too heavy. We're gonna lighten it a little bit. It's not, and then
then they'd go do 30 side quests real quick before the meteor.
Right. But you know that banter between the characters are like, oh my gosh, this is the end. Well, good thing we had soup. And then they'd do a little laugh, and then they'd go charging in. Right in a Western,
he's right though.
That's the
right.
And then in a Western, it would be literally just, oh my god, what are we gonna do? I don't know. Let's go figure it out. That's a Western, right? It's very toned. It's very held down, and. I mean, I experienced that in 13 too. Like in these most serious moments, the characters were still whipping jokes out and cracking. Like,
would you say the 13 trilogy? Well, what you've played of the 13 trilogies so far, though, they tried to mimic a lot of Western style.
You can tell. Games. You can tell that it's a way more held down JRPG.
Yeah,
but they still let the cracks still show a little bit. We're like, there's the moment.
You can't hide your roots from us.
Exactly. But you're right. They keep it like Lightning is a perfect example of that. Lightning is a typical Western acted character because she's very held down. She's very monotone. She's very like emotions inside, not outside. And so like it doesn't mesh with all the other ones that are like
over the top.
God!
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Kupo.
Cool.
I heard that.
Oh,
so
you know
many
what?
Times.
That's a great point you had there,
Kupo
with Type 0. With the weird.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Play 13 too and hear the word Kupo about a billion times.
Type 0 has the same thing.
Oh,
they
no.
say it all the time. It's a little weird.
Yeah. Well, they have to say it after they end the sentence.
Just the way it goes.
Yeah.
You should play Final Fantasy 11 and read the text. If they had voice acting in that game, it'd be ridiculous. Because they literally like the Taru in that game.
Right.
They talkie-walkie like this.
Oh gosh.
All the time.
Oh boy.
Like you read some of the stuff and it's like, are you really saying that?
Come on.
Come on.
Speak normal.
So, okay. Anybody else got anything to add about voice acting?
No.
Nope.
Okay. So next on our docket is our top 5 voice acted characters. But
Oh God.
before we do that, Mark,
Hold on. I just lost my notes.
you don't need your
You
notes.
don't need your notes. Just sit down.
You don't need your notes.
Take a seat right over there.
Just relax for a minute.
Yeah. That's gonna be really hard.
I'm trying hard not to. I'm trying to do it with a straight
I can
face.
go first. You need me to.
No, absolutely not. You remember when you and I did the intervention letters for Brian?
Yeah.
Like episode 14 or something.
Yes.
Way back when. And it was about him playing games that should be on a big screen on a handheld.
I do.
Brian and I were talking, and honestly, we've kind of gotten a little fed up with your gaming habits.
Uh-oh.
And we've each written some things that we feel we need to express to you. It was just too tough to say to your face, so I'm going to try and just read it off the page. If I get a little emotional, I apologize, but this is something that's serious to all of us. So if I could just have a minute of your time. Marcus, for a long while now, you've been on the show speaking with Brian and myself along with our listeners about video games. Up until now, we've taken your gaming decisions in stride. You constantly talk about how much you love your Xbox One, yet you also admit to only liking one exclusive game that it has, Halo. You were excited about Sunset Overdrive. We stayed silent. You hated it. You were excited about Titanfall. We stayed silent. You hated it. Brian and I have tried in vain to steer you towards the light side, the PS4 side. Yet you still feel content with your one game system, where the best argument we've heard in its defense is, well, at least the voice commands are really sweet, bruh.
Whoa!
But I digress. The Xbox One does have a bright future, one with some great looking titles on it, such as Fable, the new Halo, Quantum Break. I can't fault you for being excited for the future, even if the past has already let you down twice. I'm happy that your voice-activated Netflix box is able to bring you at least some joy at this point. I could deal with all of this. Heck, many of my friends have Xbox Ones. They seem to enjoy Halo and voice commands too. However, there is one other thing. Your Steam choices as of late. Brian, this is emotional and tough for me to get through, and you're not helping. I'm trying here.
Please continue.
First, there was Football Manager 2015. I don't even know where to begin on that one. No, seriously, I don't know where you start. You just point and click at your players and scold them when they don't play well? Maybe it's deeper than that. You start off as a water boy and work your way up to team manager. You realize football itself is a game, right? Like, they actually do have games devoted to the game itself. I mean, what's next? Flight Attendant 2024? Ooh. Make your way about the cabin of an airliner, serving drinks and bringing neck pillows to old ladies. Mark, wake up. These aren't games. They're job simulators. We play games to escape real life. Which brings me to your biggest gaming offense. Cities Skylines. Sure, I've admitted to playing the game myself, and I had a good time with it for about 20 minutes. But then I realized, holy crap, I could be eating a Pop-Tart. I could be watching the next episode of Daredevil on Netflix. Amazing show, by the way. Everybody check it out. Boop, 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 boop. I could be throwing rocks at street signs. I could be walking downstairs to get the mail. Any of those options would have been more fun in the long run, and certainly more productive. I'm glad you're able to make more roads to help traffic. That's a noble cause. Let's be honest, Mark. You like games that aren't games. Make the change now before it's too late. Before you hurt Brian and I anymore with these outlandish claims of raising taxes in District 2 so you can put in a new police station next to the business sector. Hashtag Mark Make Better Gaming Decisions 2015.
Oh, man. You've given me a lot to think about.
Brian?
Mark, your gaming decisions have affected me in the following ways. Mark, when you gleefully told me over text that you had bought Cities Skylines and that it was fantastic and that you were really managing your traffic, the disappointment I felt would be akin to that of a father sending his son to go play football for the first time and him coming home with pom-poms on the cheerleading team. Oh, God. I couldn't explain to you the disappointment that made me feel. Mark, when you constantly defend the Xbox and say that it's got good games, when it's got Halo, which I personally like, but you talk about the non-exclusive games as viable options for a inferior system, I just can't understand why you wouldn't just come over to our side for once. Mark, I watched you today play the game that you were playing.
Cities?
Yes. Well, I watched Cities, and I shook my head in disappointment. But I also watched you play Deus Ex. And you said, I'm going to go for a killless run? What is that? Mark, your gaming decisions have affected both JJ and I constantly. The 7 games you have beaten...
7 games he played.
The 7 games you have turned on and played for a minute or two and had opinions about for the time that you put a game on your top 5 list that you didn't even play.
That never happened.
The Walking Dead. Shooter. The most disappointing games, top 5?
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, those are disappointing. I mean, the fact that it was the title.
Hey, you let Brian finish.
The title is tricking you into buying
Mark,
the wrong game.
Emotions are high right now. I understand that, but let's try to get through this.
Mark, please, for JJ and I's sake, get a PS4. Hashtag Mark get a PS4 2015. Hashtag make better gaming decisions.
So if I buy a PS4, I can keep making the same game decisions, but then I'm good.
If you get a PS4, hold on.
It's a step in the right
yeah,
direction.
if you get a PS4, that will be a good gaming decision. So you will have made better gaming decisions. Hashtag.
You've given me a lot to think about. I only have to correct one part of the record.
Oh, boy.
I don't hate Titanfall or Sunset Overdrive. I just didn't like them that much.
I didn't hate them, just will never buy them.
A lot of other people like them. I just didn't.
Oh, I know. I mentioned that.
Get help, Mark.
Get help before it's too late.
The football manager thing. I lost it.
I want to play that stewardess game you were telling me about.
You would. I was thinking. I was like, what's the most like ridiculous job that I can think of as a video game? Airline stewardess. That'd be terrible.
Hey,
Oh, man.
you know what though, Mark? We make fun of your gaming decisions, but you're a gamer, so you're a part of the brotherhood. But we got to razz you when you get really excited over text and say, "Damn it, my city is just not very optimized traffic."
I was excited, Brian. I was trying to delight your
You guys
senses.
have no idea how ridiculous it gets to.
I remember.
Man.
I still remember that conversation because he was like, "Yeah, City Skyline's awesome." And I was like, "He was like, Brian, you should get it." I'm like, "Dude, I do not play City."
I took you
games."
for I don't know.
Mark was supposed to come over one night and help me put together like some stuff for the YouTube channel, and he couldn't because he was busy directing traffic in City
No.
Skylines.
You are leaving out. I said I would be here at 6, and at 7 I looked at my phone.
that's
and said,
right.
"Oh my god!"
Yeah, you had like 12 missed messages from me.
I didn't even realize.
Hey, high five for getting lost in a game.
Immersion.
Immersion.
You play that, Mayor Mark. Or city planner, whatever
planner.
the heck you're supposed to
I'm
be.
excited to make better gaming decisions.
I'm
when
excited for you too.
Everybody's Gone to the Rapture comes out this summer.
Mark,
It does look
Bloodborne.
really, really good. The more I hear about it, it looks amazing.
Bloodborne sounds hard.
It's
All right, let's move on.
yeah.
Top 5
Yeah,
voice
that
acting
was very
characters.
good. That was very good.
Oh man, I really would like this whole past week. I wanted to just be like, "Oh, Mark, you're gonna love this next episode. It's gonna be so good," but I can't tell you why.
Yeah.
And dangle it in front of your face, but I couldn't. I wanted to keep it a secret.
Nice.
So.
That's pretty good. You had me laughing.
What?
What? He goes, what? No.
You have a game designer's mind with some of those ideas you thought sounded ridiculous.
Yeah, because they
Flight
probably did
attendant,
sound great to you.
Flight attendant 2024.
Yeah.
I can just picture it in 2024. Mark over the text line, huge bold letters. Oh my God! I just served peanuts to 2 different passengers, and I didn't get hit by the cart.
Oh man! All right, top 5 voice acted characters. Do we have any honorable mentions? I don't, because this list was hard for me. Like I said, voice acting is not huge for me, so I just picked 5 that really stuck out in my mind.
I would say Ellie in The Walking Dead. Not Ellie in The Walking Dead. Ellie in The Last of Us.
Yes,
She was voice acted by Johnson.
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson.
Yeah, she did a
Very good
wonderful,
job.
wonderful
Yep.
job.
I didn't
Should be in
write
my
down.
honorable mention.
I didn't write down their names, but the voice actors who played Paige and Jade in the Beyond Good and Evil game,
Yeah, and then
are excellent.
yeah, absolutely. And then my other one would be the Lutece twins.
Yes.
Yep.
I didn't
That'd be
even
my
think about
honorable
that, but that's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have a big enough part for me to put them in my top 5,
Mm-hmm.
but they were very well done.
Well, all right then. Shall we get started?
Let's do this.
Okay. I'll start us off. My number 5 voice acting character. My top 5.
My top 5.
My number 5 voice acting character is Tommy Vercetti, voiced by Ray Liotta in Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
This was your favorite Grand Theft Auto, wasn't it?
This was the only one. I mean, yes and no. Like, I think the new ones, they all just get better than the last.
Right.
There's more to do. The stories end up longer. There's just a lot going on. This was the first one that I actually played to completion, though. And it stuck with me. You know, we talked about that nostalgia thing earlier. This is kind of what hit me with that. And I really, really just thought that he did an excellent job voicing Tommy Vercetti. And I like the character. I like the game, obviously. And he really just, if you've ever watched any of his movies where he actually like portrays a character like that, it really, really fits him well. And I think they did a great job casting him for it. So that's my number 5. Ray Liotta, Tommy Vercetti, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Mark.
My number 5 is Andrew Ryan, played by Armin Shimmerman in the BioShock video game.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Armin Shimmerman?
Yeah, he plays Andrew Ryan in BioShock, right?
No,
correct.
No, I'm not letting you get away with that.
Oh, am I wrong?
Have you? Okay, no one's watched Deep Space Nine.
Very few
A little
episodes.
He
Yeah.
plays Quark.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
He's Quark. He also played Principal Snyder in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Dr. Nefarious from the Ratchet and Clank games. And I just thought he did a really fantastic job of capturing that 1930s style voice. It feels very much like a old black and white movie character voice. It's got a sharp roughness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way he talks, everything is fantastic. It's really hard to describe this quality, but if you've played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Very cool.
And there you have it.
I have played the game.
Nice.
You know I have. We reviewed it on the show.
Yeah, you need to play the rest of them.
I know. I do. I know. You know me. And I got so many games to play. It's ridiculous. Brian, number 5, sir.
My number
Yeah.
well,
totally.
English. Let me rewind.
Brian, another intervention. We need to talk about your speech skills.
Hold on. Let me rewind. My number 5 is Balthier, Final Fantasy 12, played by Gideon Emery. I loved his voice acting. I don't know if it was the accent or his sarcastic, like, that guy voice acted Balthier like I would imagine every swashbuckler should be voice acted.
Everybody says he's the best character in the game.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. He's by far and away my favorite.
And I think it was due to the voice acting. Just, he was the Han Solo of that Final Fantasy game. Just sarcastic, swashbuckler, had the gun. I loved his voice acting throughout that entire game.
He's just a guy you want to just have a beer with.
Yeah. He always had a sarcastic quip to say. He was always like just poo-pooing the situations. It was great. I loved his voice acting. Gideon Emery did a great job.
Definitely. Cool. All right, Brian's number 5, Balthier. My number 4 is Wheatley from Portal 2.
Oh, yeah.
Voiced by Stephen Merchant.
Very good.
And that shows up later on somebody else's list.
Very good.
Mark.
My number 4
Is the same as mine.
is the same as Brian's number 4. Happens to be the Joker from the Arkham series,
Luke Skywalker.
who was played by Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker himself.
Correct.
And this is just part of a long-running history of Mark Hamill playing the Joker.
Yeah, he played him in the Batman cartoon series.
And some of the, I don't know, some of the releases of movies.
Don't ask me. This is
Like the cartoon. I don't know.
The only one
I'm talking out my ass. I don't know enough about what kind of 90s Batman movies there were.
But he has played the...
Yeah, it's like when he voiced Ron in that one game, and Batman had
I should have just gone with it and let us find out in hate mail later.
He's voiced a lot of the he voiced a lot of the 90s Batman Joker episodes.
Yes. Yep. I meant to look it up.
But the Arkham series, oh man.
You don't have your tablet, I can't fault you.
Yeah. Have you seen how small my phone screen is?
Oh man, you must be twitching over there. God.
But I thought he was fantastic in the series.
He really was.
I mean,
he really captures the pathos of Joker really well.
Yeah.
You really feel like you don't know what he's going to do at any moment.
One of my favorite lines about the Joker is that he's the only villain that you will either come up to you and hand you $1 million or shoot you dead. He's just chaos. He's complete and utter chaos, and Mark Hamill plays him completely. Like, if you watch the Joker in a cartoon and he walked up to a stranger with a gun and you were like, and then he gave him money and said, kissed him on the lips and said, "Be on your way," you would be like, "That makes sense." Or if he murdered him in a terrible way, oh, that makes sense. Just a fantastic way to play the Joker when you get that feeling that he's the most unpredictable bad guy you've ever seen. You have no idea what he's going to do next.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Cool. All right, it's both of you guys number 4.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Number 4.
Number 4. My number 3. Have either of you played Far Cry 3?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you know who this guy is.
Michael Mondo.
yeah.
Yep.
Vas Montenegro. Michael Mondo, dude, like, it's whenever you've got a villain that is not only, just obviously evil and willing to do whatever it takes to win, blah, 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 that's out there all the time. Mm-hmm. That's great. But when you've got somebody who can take his voice and literally turn that character into somebody you as a person, not even necessarily your character, absolutely loathes and hates and despises, and wants to just be like, this world is going to be better off without you, dude.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt.
And the actor that played him, didn't they model Voss after him? And wasn't he an add-on after they saw how good he was? I'm pretty sure I read that.
I'm not sure.
I could be wrong. I could be marking this up real good, but I don't know.
I honestly don't know. I just know that he literally like made me loathe that character because of the way he sounded and the mannerisms they gave him and everything.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a wonderful performance.
Yeah.
In the worst way possible,
Right.
or a terrible performance in the best way possible.
Whatever works.
Either way, whatever works.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I still remember that guy. It was just like, Voss, I just want to take that guy down so bad because he was always taunting you, and he always just, he always just would just pick at you.
Yep.
Man, crazy, but amazing game and amazing voice acting.
You bet.
So Voss Montenegro, number 3, voiced by Michael Mondo. Mark, number 3.
My number 3 was on your list earlier, and it's Wheatley,
Yep.
played by Stephen Merchant in Portal 2.
Correct.
Are you a fan of Stephen Merchant in general? Because I know I am.
He's good friends with
Personally.
Ricky Gervais.
Yes, he's friends with Ricky Gervais. He's been in Life's Too Short. He's been in Hello Ladies. 2 excellent comedies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And he does a fantastic
I know Face
job
is a
here.
lot better than
He's
I
a
know
real
names.
tall, skinny Brit, blonde.
Yep,
with
I know
glasses.
exactly who you're
Okay,
talking
yeah.
about.
And he does a fantastic job as Wheatley.
He really does.
He has a whole story arc too. He's this really stupid, lovable sidekick that you acquire early in the game, and some things happen. And I think a lot of times people see evil and stupidity as opposites. Like the evil character is always intelligent and
Always
in
super-
everything, but he does a fantastic job of being evil and stupid. His evil tendencies don't contradict or don't override how stupid he is and how
Right.
simple-minded he is about everything.
It's hilarious.
And that finding that balance is, I think, very difficult, and he does a great job.
Yeah, it just fit very well. It's hard to say that a person's voice fits with a robot, but just the character that was behind it and the mannerisms and the way they took that game and honestly, like as shallow as the story was, the writing and obviously the voice acting were phenomenal.
I would argue that Portal 2 is one of the best written scripts in any game.
I would probably have to agree with you on
Yeah.
that.
You bet.
It's certainly up there,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so that would be Mark's number 3. My number 4, Wheatley from Portal 2.
Very good
Voiced by
choice.
Stephen Merchant. Brian, number 3.
My number 3 is Joel, played by Troy Baker in The Last of Us, but that is later on the list on a couple of our hosts, so we'll get back to it when we get back to it.
Later on the list on a couple of our hosts.
Me talkie real good today.
Oh, yeah. All right, number 2 is my number 2.
Solid.
Man, seriously. Like, you guys have both played
Oh
this,
yeah,
right?
I've played all. I've actually
Love.
beat this game.
Love.
Ooh, so this is one of
Whoa.
the illustrious 7.
Oh, one of the 7. Dude, that could be like a whole thing. One of the 7.
John Marston from Red Dead Redemption, voiced by Rob Weedhoff.
Yeah, that sounds
How
right.
you pronounce it?
Probably.
maybe?
I think it's Weethoff.
Either way, man, that he's just got the stereotypical cowboy voice that you think of from all those old
Yeah.
westerns. He just did it beautifully, and I mean, John Marston, first of all, is such a great character, and you needed to have somebody who could actually capture the Wild West in a voice, and I think he was able to do that beautifully.
That game was a hidden gem.
Yeah, you keep hearing rumors about a new one coming out, which would be spectacular. All we can do is hope. Keep our fingers crossed.
I'm sure they'll do that. But yeah, I was really tempted to put this on my list.
Would have been in my honorable mentions for sure.
The way he exudes this confidence mixed with melancholy.
Yeah.
The way you can tell he has regrets in his life, and he's kind of withdrawn. It's just fantastic.
Absolutely. You can just tell he's seen things
Yes,
for sure.
definitely.
Okay, so that's my number 2, John Marston. Mark, number 2.
My number 2 is Joel, played by Troy Baker.
Troy Bakeman.
Bakeman.
Joelman.
Joelman the Moleman with Troy Bakeman.
Joel the Bakeman.
It appears on someone else's list. I wonder whose. Later, so we'll talk about
Is
it
that
then.
funny?
Yeah.
That was funny to me.
Whoa!
Sorry, I won't argue.
Yeah.
that.
His eyes glowed
you.
red for a minute.
All right.
All right.
Brian, number 2.
My number 2 is Nathan Drake, played by Nolan North in the Uncharted series. I honestly, and this is going to be sacrilegious, I think he played a better Indiana Jones than Indiana Jones did. No offense to Harrison Ford, but man, Nathan Drake
Well, I've never played it, so
Nathan
what can we-
Drake was like a cooler, hipper Indiana Jones. with the same like comedic timing. Have you ever played Uncharted?
I've played some of the first one.
Some of the lines, I mean, you play these games, and it's literally like you're playing an Indiana Jones. I mean, it's an ode to
I feel
it.
like the plot is very Indiana Jones, but he's not just a stand-in for Indiana Jones. He's his own character.
He is, but I'm saying that the whole genre is an ode, an homage to Indiana Jones. And
Yeah.
I think he played the part of the dungeon diver, the Tomb Raider,
Right.
better. Just the sarcasm.
Maybe in the course of 3 games they would convince me otherwise, but right now I feel like they're just separate.
You haven't played the other 2. I mean,
That's why I just
yeah. Just take it from me when I say that I honestly revere Uncharted game, the trilogy, better than I do. That's why I'm so excited for 4 than I do Indiana Jones. Like, the first one was a little bit shaky, but the second and third games were absolute marvels. Naughty Dog. I mean, it's Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah, it's Naughty Dog. Yep.
Come on now.
Come on, Naughty Dog.
Come on now, yeah. All right. Brian's number 2, Nathan Drake. And I should probably mention, like I said, this list was very hard for me to do because I had to like look at other lists online and be like, oh yeah, that's totally, absolutely.
To remind you.
This was literally on like every list that I saw. Nathan Drake, like it out there.
It's
Crazy.
exceptional. It's exceptional.
So, I have the dual pack. I can't wait to try it. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. All right, my number 1 is Joel from The Last of Us, voiced by Troy Baker. You guys also have this on your list. Mark's number 2, Brian's number 3.
Yep.
I mean, it was just human. I mean, is the best way to say it.
The most realistic portrayal of, I think, somebody in that kind of situation where sometimes you hate Joel, sometimes you understand Joel, sometimes you're like,
absolutely,
I would have done that too. Just so convincing.
I was originally not going to put this on my list, and then I watched what's it called, Elders Play, where a bunch of old people played through the opening segment of Last of Us, and just watching those scenes with Joel and everything that happens.
Why would you
just
do that
brought
to
it all
yourself?
back to me, and he does a fantastic job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the way he transforms over the course of the game, the way his anger comes up so much.
Yeah. You can literally see the armor getting chipped away throughout the game by Ellie.
Yeah.
What did the old people say when they finished the intro?
They said it was pretty cool and it's like a movie.
That was it?
Like they were shocked that it was like, well, some of them were appalled by the gore, but
Man, because I was going to say, like, my heart was pounding out of my chest when I played that intro.
Yeah.
well, they all did really poorly playing. Like they didn't know how to turn the camera.
Probably
and stuff.
has no.
So they died a lot of times.
Of course you'd watch something like that.
No, it's
Right?
a good.
He probably was holding a controller while he was watching it and being like, I'm playing the old people watching this.
This is an absurd allegation. We reviewed this game.
Video game playing manager 2030.
This is one of the 7.
It's one of the 7.
True enough. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. We've raved a million times over about The Last of Us. If you haven't played it yet, what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
It is an amazing game.
Yeah.
So, get out there and play it.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I know what they're waiting for. They bought the Halo Box 1.
Dang.
But
But they can get it on PS3.
they're looking at me. But
If they bought a Halo Box 1, they likely had an Xbox 360 as well.
and I have a PS3. And I played.
Mark,
it.
make better gaming decisions.
Hashtag.
Played the game.
Hashtag Mark. Make
You're looking
better
at
gaming
me
decisions.
as this example
Mark
of why they
doesn't-
haven't played it.
Mark,
And I've played it.
quit,
You are ruining everyone's life.
quit coming home with pom-poms.
My number 1 is Lee Everett, played by Dave Fenoy in the Walking Dead Telltale game series.
Yep. Can I say something, Mark, before you start?
No.
Fair enough.
No, go
Continue.
ahead.
As long as it's not about
I was going to
Football
say
Manager.
that while he's not on my list, that ending scene was one of the only scenes in video games that actually choked me up.
Yeah.
Yep.
First of all, I should mention that he is the voice of Hulu.
You didn't need to mention that.
You need to know.
Why do I need
If
to
you're
know?
ever watching Hulu and it says, tonight's program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by...
Wait,
That's him.
Is this another one of those need to know things that I need to know?
Yeah, you do need to know
wait.
it.
Is this the same thing where I need to know the droid is going to be real instead of CG? The little tiny ball
That
droid?
is not something that we discussed on the podcast, so it's not a throwback to anything
Okay, I'm
that
sorry.
the listeners will understand.
Okay. Inside jokes that don't.
Oh my gosh, where are you guys going right
Nowhere.
I'm stopping him from taking this off the track.
Wow.
Sorry, I went on a real tangent there. Shut up.
So this is probably one of my all-time favorite games, mostly because of Lee Everett, the character. The transformation he goes through from basically being on his last leg, having nothing left in his life to live for, to finding Clementine, rising to the occasion, protecting her, trying to take her back to her parents, etc., etc. And then something happens at the end of the season, and it broke my heart. It literally broke my... No, it didn't. Because my heart
literally broke it.
It literally
It
made me
figuratively-
feel like my heart had been broken.
There you go.
I had to just... Okay, I played it with my fiance, and when we were done, I just had to sit there. I was playing...
Did she say put your pom-poms away?
No. She didn't say that. But what happened was I just had to sit there and watch the credits and like try and compose myself so she wouldn't see me cry.
Because then she would have said put your pom-poms away.
No, she was too busy crying.
I'll say that scene choked me up, and I was like, oh, this is the first game that's ever got to me, like emotionally.
Yeah.
It did a good job.
Did good job.
It was a good boy.
Good job. All right. Mark's number 1, Lee Everett from The Walking Dead. Voiced by Dave Fennoy?
Fennoy, I'm not sure.
All right, cool. Brian, number 1. I don't think it counts, but go for it.
My number 1 is GLaDOS, played by one Ellen McLean. JG doesn't think it counts because they synthesized her voice a little bit.
It wasn't all her voice, yeah.
Yeah, they use like synthesis.
They basically ran it through a filter to
Right.
make it sound more
So
robotic.
you're in parentheses. It should say Ellen McLean /robot.
But she delivered all the robot didn't. She delivered all the lines with all the comedic timing and all the. I mean, her tone and comedic timing in the. I laughed more at her stuff than at anybody else's stuff in both games. When she's when she looked at the I'm looking at the chart and it says here that you are fat. I mean, just stuff like that. She draws out long words, and I have never laughed so hard at a video game character just absolutely robotically and systematically breaking down this female lead character like she did.
You got to play Portal 2 multiplayer. Mark and I were cracking up before.
Kyle and I played through
So
it.
good.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Kyle and I played through it, and it was great.
I was very tempted to put this on my list. It's definitely an honorable mention for me.
Me
I
too.
mean,
Yeah.
and it's totally played out now, but originally the first time you beat that first game and you got that song,
Oh my goodness.
fantastic.
Yep.
But now we don't talk about that because it's so played.
It's played.
Anyways. So there you have it. There's our top 5 voice-acted characters
Yep.
in video games. You guys have anything else to add?
I really don't. I think hashtag make Mark make better
I
gaming
think
decisions.
Yep.
Brian would make an excellent voice actor with his crazy noises
I
and stuff.
agree, too. Or at least like sound effects or
Yeah.
something.
Like, Brian, give me a wheep.
Yep.
Got it.
Nailed it.
Oh,
First
boy.
try.
Nailed it. All right. He would be a JRPG
Yeah, he
guy
would.
for sure.
As much as I complain about JRPG voice acting, I do feel like I fit that one better.
You do personify a JRPG character
Damn it.
sometimes, for sure. You
Damn
do.
it. And that's
Maybe that's why you like Western, because it's
that's-
out of your norm.
that's very apropos. My
Yeah.
appy polylogies.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. All right. Man, 60 episodes, you guys.
That's right, dude.
60.
I'm pretty excited.
You sound excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Hey, guys. I'm really excited.
Well, I mean, JD, this is coming from a guy who plays city planning games, so that could
Yeah,
be
are
very
you
exciting.
kidding me?
Yeah.
This is almost as exciting as raising taxes for a district.
Dang it, Mark. JJ,
We tried.
Hey, here's the conversation. JJ goes, Brian, I just beat this awesome boss. It had the cool effects in the spell, and I summoned this guy, and I'm like, oh my god, I just beat this awesome boss. And Mark's like, oh my god, I raised taxes in District 2.
Oh my god, I just built a new on-ramp. Hey man, shout out to Colossal Order for making such a fantastic game.
I want you to listen to this episode after today.
I
and
will.
realize how ridiculous you sound.
I know how ridiculous I sound.
Hey, I'm
long
going to
as
give
you're
you
okay
a
with that.
Brian seal of approval. Take it to the bank.
Try
Try it again.
See, you can't high five even
Yeah.
because it's ridiculous.
Because we're dorks.
Well, that's why we're all here. All right, with that, I think this is the Frozen North signing off. Once again, thank you very much for listening, and we're gonna keep on trucking. 60 episodes and counting, man. Pretty
60
awesome.
going on 4 million. Wait,
JJ's got a trucker bomb going on back there.
somebody do the math. Is 4 million a possibility in our lifetimes?
In our lifetimes, if we're doing this when we're like, if we exponentially grow, 4 million episodes?
Yeah.
No,
No.
I don't think
Damn
so.
it.
I thought you
Well-
meant 4 million listeners.
Okay, let's figure out. Let's figure out some.
No.
Let's figure out
Hopefully.
some way to become immortal.
Well, that's why I said
Huh?
when we're like old.
Immortality.
I don't think that.
Damn it, Mark.
For those of you listening, Brian tried to high five Mark, but Mark was busy wrapping his arm around his microphone cord. So he couldn't reach up to high five him, and they just looked at each other awkwardly, and Mark was like, "Oh, give me a second, I'll give you a high five." Okay, that's great. And then they missed.
What?
With that
We
again,
didn't miss that time.
This is the Frozen North signing off. Once again, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your support. Send us an email. What the heck is our email address? FrozenNorthPodcast@gmail.com. I messed it up. Yeah,
It happens.
I got to make a letter for myself now. Thank you again. My name is JJ.
My name is Mark.
And my name is Brian.
And as always, keep on gaming.
Our theme song was made available through the Creative Commons Attribution license by Ziphoid. The song title is Radical Fanfare.